Hey guys, Chris and Jeremy here from Harmony Turbines. So we wanted to do a follow-up of our last week's video where I said we weren't going to take the time then to talk about the wind tunnel and a little bit more in-depth information on that, but today is the day. And I'm holding a straw in my hand, which signifies a whole week of your life that you spent improving our wind tunnel over this past month. And the improvements we've made here, Jeremy, have been tremendous because it's given us a lot of really good data, and it's allowed us to homogenize and standardize our data in a way we never could before. Absolutely. So I don't know if you want to talk about the success or the results a little bit of what you saw here.
Well, I think we just, we verified that we're getting a very laminar flow through our wind tunnel. I took a bunch of readings with anemometers around the periphery and the center and throughout the wind tunnel, and the flow rate was very even. You know, there wasn't any swirls or anything like that.
We're also seeing the numbers on your anemometer come to a very, very tight margin, where before you were telling me it could vary 300 RPM.
On the tachometer.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
They're such big words.
Correct.
But no,
we're using it like our anemometer, but it's our tachometer.
Yeah, you're correct. I think we spoke about our scale of our models and our blockage percentage of the wind tunnel. And we went to a slightly smaller scale to make sure that we had no problems with the blockage.
Right.
And when we did that with our new and improved test setup that we came up with, we would have RPM tachometer readings of, I don't know, maybe as much as 200 from high to low.
Right.
And with our new setup and these improvements, we could shrink that down to, in some cases, like 20 RPMs.
Right.
From high to low.
So the translation here, guys, and what's so exciting about this is we're now able to see a very, very tight window of performance with these. We're able to have a high reproducibility with our wind tunnel testing. So now we can kind of march through the iterations of the different turbines that we're testing. And to that, we'll segue into, let's just take a glance, like a crazy little snapshot look into what we're doing here. The number of turbines that we've tested, we did a rough count, we're probably up around 130, 140 different turbines that we've tested. All different shapes, all different sizes, all different permutations. This is like a bunch of different turbines back here. So just because they're stacked up, we are testing so many different things now. And we've gone from initially when we were kind of all over the place with our aspect ratio, then we started standardizing. We came down into the orange models being another more standard, and lately our standard is now this much more smaller, concise model. And Jeremy, do you want to speak to why we went to this small little size versus this bigger size?
Sure. With this orange size, we were at about, I believe it was a 7 to 10% blockage ratio.
Yeah.
It was somewhere in that neighborhood. This one puts us down below that 5%. We wanted to eliminate any possibility that we're getting wall effect or any type of strange things that happen inside the wind tunnel. And it's also a lot quicker to print.
Yeah, way quicker to print. I'm going to just pause you on that and explain to people, hold that out in the air here. What we mean by the wall effect is the throat, the area that we're checking things in the wind tunnel there is only 12 inches by 12 inches. So when you have your wind tunnel and my hands signifying the sides, if your turbine is too big, you actually start squeezing the air. So if I'm testing that little guy, it's only taking up a smaller percentage of the area in there than this one would be. And that's significant. We have to keep the size down, that aspect ratio down, so that we get a much, much better, more reliable number, and we're not squeezing or funneling air through our wind tunnel. And now we've taken it a step further, haven't we?
Right. To further validate that we're on the right track, what we've done is we've set up a very basic setup using our same test equipment that we used in the tunnel on a bench where there are no walls whatsoever. And we got this nifty little, like a floor fan.
Yeah, it's just a squirrel cage blower. So guys, trolls beware. Don't even try and say, oh my God, you're doing some janky testing here with an open air little squirrel cage blower. No, this is to verify one thing and one thing only. I want to be clear about this. It is verifying that the data that we're seeing in the wind tunnel is correct, and we do not have a wall effect. That's all we're doing here. We're not sitting here trying to get ratings or anything like that on our turbines. We're just trying to say, okay, the data we're seeing in the wind tunnel is valid, and we do not have a wall effect, because right now with this, it's open, so we don't have any squeezing or constraining of our air.
The setup here, I have the same airspeed here that I have in the wind tunnel. The numbers that we're getting here are identical to the numbers we're getting in the wind tunnel.
Right. And that's exciting, guys. You have to understand how exciting this is, because as we're coming into the end of this, it's hard for us to convey all the difficult and challenging work that we're doing. I mean, you've been at this for 3 months. Literally 3 months of your life have been poured into looking at this at such a granular level. I know we've worked with universities. I know we've looked at, oh my God, probably 40 different studies out on the internet. A lot of these studies, a lot of these universities only have a very tiny window where they can do their work, and then they're just scrambling like to meet the deadline and get the paper published. We do not have that constraint. Now, obviously, we don't want to sit here and test for years, but we're taking this to a much, much more careful level than any of those studies ever did. And we're uncovering a lot of truths that are not shown in some of those, or even things that appear to be false or incorrect because they didn't have the time to to go down the rabbit hole a little bit.
So the wind tunnel testing is important so that we can optimize our design. And by optimizing our design, we're looking at efficiency. We're looking at if we can generate the torque that we need, you know, to produce an acceptable amount of electricity.
It's way quicker to print this, guys, and take, what, 30 minutes, 40 minutes to print these little things, than sit there and spend 4 weeks doing a full-size version.
If we're lucky, it would take 4 weeks.
Yeah, this allows much quicker, much more rapid prototyping and testing, a lot more permutations than we could do in full size. So that's why we're taking some extra time to do it.
We have 130 some,
130, 140 models over there.
Versus if we were dealing in full scale, we'd have 1 or 2. We're testing parameters and checking boundaries and seeing how we can deliver the most functional, most efficient, best unit possible.
And to that end, I guess we'll conclude with this. Do you want to grab the analog, what we call the Harmony analog over there? So guys, up on the roof, we have our kind of our second generation, or our Mark III unit that's up on the roof, and it's like this. So the very first one, you'll remember from our early videos, you know, 2 years ago or whatever, it was 4 scoops. We, you know, lovingly refer to as our gold standard. That's where we kind of started back in 2022 with this gold standard. And everyone grew to love this. It looks so cool. I love it. I love how it looks. It's awesome. But what it comes down to is performance. And if this guy is a pig in performance, you know, no offense there, little gold standard. When we put this out there and had them side by side, we were like, oh my God, we're seeing double the performance. Okay, so obviously we love that 100% jump in efficiency. Yes, it doesn't look as cool, but in the end, efficiency is what's gonna rule the day. So we have to move away and iterate to a better one. Here's the crazy, crazy part. This, we had to just change our scale, because no longer were we in the 1 to 2 range, what we thought. We're starting to see numbers here. How high, Jeremy? How, if you would say that's a 1 and this is a 2, what are we seeing on some of these?
I mean, we could be 300-400%.
Yeah, guys, it's insane how much higher we are. And that's why we're taking the time to do this, because the numbers are so good. We want to make sure we're not making a mistake. We want to make sure that we're getting it right, so that when we do build that first full-size one, our third iteration, or our, you know, Mark IV unit, that it does perform like we believe it should from the wind tunnel testing.
We're going to have a gigantic ice cream party at that point.
Yeah, when we see the numbers actually confirm what we see over here in the wind tunnel, yeah, it's going to be a big party that day. So that's why we're doing this. That's why it's so exciting. That's why this is so full of energy as we're doing this. Each and every day we come in, we're trying to tease out that data. We're trying to take the time to notice the nuances and the very small, insignificant things that other groups have overlooked, and actually achieve performances that they couldn't even dream of. So it goes back to that stupid chart from 50 years ago that they published with their lines drawn the wrong way, you know, smashing, oh, Savoni's turbines are crap because they can't do any good. We're starting to see that they are absolutely performance monsters if you take the time to do it right. Hopefully this helps give you a little bit of that energy, that understanding, the reasoning behind why we're taking the time to do this, and to help you just kind of be there with us on the ground level, seeing this unfold, because we're sharing it with you. We told you we weren't going to hide anything. We weren't going to keep things secret. We said we would share it right away from the ground up. I mean, everything about this, people are understanding and finally getting it. It's how I believe all companies should be doing development, open like this, sharing what you're doing, because behind the scenes, behind the curtain is just, you know, it breeds a lot of crap and a lot of stupidity when it comes to what invention and creation and true innovation is. So we're being open about it. We're trying something totally different in the spirit of openness and sharing. This is where we're at, guys. And it's exciting. It's really exciting. So thank you for following with us. Thank you for investing in our company, for being there as supporters. We hope you're enjoying that journey as we're doing it.
It's been fun here.
It's been a lot of fun. So thank you, guys. Chris and Jeremy from Harmony Turbines, signing off.
See ya.
Take care.
Harmony Turbines. We now have the power to change the world.